Good afternoon, everyone. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara here at the Storm Track 8 Weather Center, giving you an update on the latest snow that has been going on across the area. We have been seeing our fair share of some of that snow, very excessive in areas to our north and west, whereas the farther south you go, moisture, the snowfall amounts have been much smaller. It's been a very challenging forecast ever since around this morning. So let's get to it right here and show you the latest. We got a lot of cameras to show you. We get an opportunity to see what's going on with the beast, talk about those road conditions as well, and what that means as we go through the rest of the evening overnight, as well as the next chance for some additional snow. This is a radar and satellite loop in the past, I would say 6 hours or so. And the timing of that snow, especially starting accumulating snow, came right in on time, right around the daybreak hours or just before that. And then as we made our way through the mid-mornings, and this what really has played a big role in some of the snowfall amounts, especially around the Quad Cities and points southward, is you can see that dry slot of air. We saw that developing around parts of Missouri right around the mid-morning. And when you're dealing with these dry slot of airs, it is very hard for computer forecast models to actually forecast these situations, because when you get involved in these dry slots, it can really cut off the moisture as well. Now, we're still noticing the tail end of that snow band still making its way around the Iowa-Missouri border. So that still needs to sweep its way through here. So we're not quite done with the snow yet, but we may be talking about just a little bit more of accumulation to go before everything pretty much comes to an end as we head later on this evening. Yeah, we couldn't actually fill in that dry slot with moisture, mainly because of what's been taking place to our south. There has been a lot of very active, strong to severe thunderstorms, some that could be tornadic in areas around the deep south. So when you combine that, limiting the moisture northward, it takes away any more snow to continue across their area. So if we didn't see that strong dynamic storm system to our south, we would have filled in that dry slot with a lot more moisture, and we would have been able to see more of the snow continuing. So once we get through that one wave, then I think we'll be looking pretty good. Now, here are the latest snowfall reports. And if you're watching us from the News 8 app, areas to our north, like around Loudoun and Maquoketa, yeah, you've seen your fair share of some nice, dry, fluffy snow. 6, even as high as 8.5 inches around Loudoun. That's in Cedar County. Tipton around 4, right around Muscatine, and thereafter about 3 to 3.5 inches. We saw that report of 3 inches over in Davenport. And keep in mind, these are numbers that were reported as of 1:30 this afternoon. Around Moline, around 2 inches. I live in Moline. I just got about 2.2 of that dry, fluffy snow. So a little bit behind, certainly, in our numbers from around the Quad Cities and also points southward as well. Now, let's go and take a look at the road conditions, because even though we've been seeing some of those amounts, especially near the Quad Cities and southward, very much on the light side, the road conditions are still a little slick. Now, may not be the case around the immediate Quad Cities. As you can see, just on 16th Street here, with the help of our beast, our storm-chasing vehicle, the roads appear to be very wet. But neighborhood streets, sidewalks, those are going to be very slick, especially around the immediate Quad Cities. But once again, the main roads actually are going to be looking pretty wet. We're kind of been noticing that too, even around our Bridgepoint camera as well. Let's see if we can actually get a chance to even pop that up. I can actually do this. Let's see here. I'm going to actually show it even with the temperatures. Oh, we got it right there. Perfect. Okay, we'll do that. And you can see how the roadway is actually not looking too bad. This break in the snow that we're noticing around the immediate Quad Cities has certainly given the ice a chance to take over, and even the snowplows out there to really clean things up. Still a little wet. You can see how the cars and trucks out there are still taking it a little bit on the slow side. So that's kind of what's going on in the immediate Quad Cities. Let's go back to the graphic system here and show you what's been going on across eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. We've been keeping an eye on this ever since early this morning on Good Morning Quad Cities. And what really sticks out is that pink magenta color. And that's where those roadways are still 100% snow covered. Only a little blue here that we're noticing just north of the Quad Cities and possibly traveling southward along 67 heading toward Monmouth, where 50% of those roads are covered. But nonetheless, even with the amount of snow, or in this case, the lack of snow, especially south of the Quad Cities, the roadways are still 100% snow covered. So that is something we'll be definitely keeping an eye on as we go into rush hour, which is just about 2 hours or so away. So that is what we'll be definitely keeping an eye on. Going to the latest satellite picture then with the temperatures, yeah, pretty cold out there. Not surprised given that the snow out there is very dry and fluffy. And you can see in areas, especially north of the Quad Cities, still seeing some pretty steady snow taking place from Maquoketa, where they've seen their fair share of snow. Stockton, Galena, Dubuque, Monticello, even around Iowa City are now seeing some pretty steady snow. And you can see that's the backside that we still need to make its way through here that can still produce a little bit more accumulating snow. Given its present course, it should graze like around Keokuk, Burlington, and eventually parts like around Aledo, maybe Galesburg, and then points northward heading toward the Quad Cities. So we could, given what we're seeing right now, if we can still kind of saturate that air a little bit more, create enough instability, we could throw another inch of dry snow before everything begins to kind of deteriorate going throughout the evening hours. Want to go and take a look at other camera sites, and that's kind of what we've been doing throughout the day, is getting a chance to look at other road conditions, not just graphically and from the beast itself, but other cameras that we have. Here's our right now it's about 11 out of the 12 cameras that are showing the conditions from Iowa City all the way through the Quad Cities itself. And with that break that we're noticing, we are noticing the roads are actually still pretty wet out there. When you get to Iowa City, though, we are noticing snow beginning to fall, and that may kind of limit the driving out there with that snow that is actually coming in. But right now, the roadways we see along Interstate 80 are looking pretty good. As we go ahead and take a look at the road conditions along Interstate 74. Once again, that covers the immediate Quad Cities. The good news here is the roads are just wet. So at least around the immediate Quad Cities, things are looking pretty good that we see right now. But like I said, we still have that additional snow that needs to very likely make its way through here. Keep in mind, you can always go to our News 8 or Storm Track 8 weather app, where you can actually see the radar. You can be interactive with it, zooming in, zooming out. There actually is a future track that's on there as well, and that usually is a nice tool to have, especially when you want to know when that snow is pretty much going to be coming to an end, or if it's actually coming in your general direction. So that's always a nice tool to have when you're dealing with these type of conditions. We still have our winter storm warning and advisories that are out. The only big change that we see here is the fact that the areas that were south of the Quad Cities, where we had winter storm warnings earlier, have now been changed to winter weather advisories, mainly because of that dry slot of air that's going to limit any more really additional snowfall. Maybe another inch, like I said, in areas from Burlington, Aledo, maybe near Galesburg, heading toward Geneseo. But other than that, I think the focus for some pretty good steady snow will still be confined in areas to our north and west. So from west of Muscatine to Iowa City, Tipton, heading toward Maquoketa, Galena, even around Stockton. Wouldn't be surprised if we added another 2 or 3 more inches to those areas. So like we mentioned about Cedar County, that's where Tipton is located. Loudon is located in that, where they're already seen about 8.5 inches of snow. They could actually make its way over 10 inches before this snow is all said and done. So once again, one last look here at our radar, and of course we'll be mentioning more about this on the current, which begins at around 4 o'clock on News 8, as well as the 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. We'll also have our beast out there kind of roaming the streets, not just in Moline, but other locations as well. They got to give us a bird's eye view of what's really going on those roadways, especially when it comes to the conditions that are expected heading into the evening hours. One more last check I want to throw at you is our 8-day tracker, and we want to make sure that everyone is aware, and we've been kind of stressing it throughout the week, and that is one more weather impact alert, and we're still focusing on Saturday, though we may actually bump it up a little bit more ahead of time in going into about the second half of the day on Friday into Friday night. This is an area where we could be talking about some more accumulating snow. Hard to say right now, actually, as to how much, but there have been indications that we may be talking about maybe 2 to 4 inches in general. But this is Wednesday, and the system not expected to be rolling into about maybe Friday evening or so. So we'll very likely, if I can, maybe even try and get an early estimate as far as the potential snowfall when it comes to that system. Of course, we're going to be having another News 8 Plus update for you coming up at around 8 o'clock heading into the evening hours, and give you an update what's been going on there. One last check, by the way, at the Beast, the storm chasing vehicle that is now on 53rd, I believe, just off of 53rd now, going on 41st. This is actually near the Moline High School. And as you can see, the road's actually looking pretty decent, I would say. A little wet, maybe a little slushy. Can't stress enough, though, on those neighborhood streets. Those are the ones that haven't been really plowed yet. At least there are some of those streets out there. So be careful about that. Take it nice and slow. As you can see here, the Beast is giving enough distance between itself and the car in front. You definitely want to do that, especially in those rural areas where some of the roads haven't been plowed yet. You always want to have a good distance in case you happen to slide. You want to give that distance, certainly with that vehicle that may be in front of you. That's always a good tip, especially when it comes to these winter conditions that are going on. Once again, we'll keep you updated here on News 8, 4 and 5 o'clock show, 6 o'clock show, what's going on with the snow. We'll update those snowfall amounts, and once again, we'll focus on that event coming in on Friday, later Friday, going into Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll keep you updated.